Jeff Peterson, ABC 26 Sports, and yes, we are talking high school football. It just seemed like we just had the Gatorade Championships out at the Superdome just a couple of weeks ago, but it was actually several months ago, and now they're out in the pads and helmets in the sweltering heat, including the coaches like Jay Roth. Thanks for coming on the show, Jay.
Jeff, thanks for having me.
And Jay, you're sporting a big wedding ring, too. We got married about the same time.
Combination, huh?
Jeez.
My wife Karen's now a big-time Rummel football fan.
Well, she has to be.
She has to be, that's right.
And boy, you had the nice honeymoon in the Greek islands, and man, you went to town.
Had a good summer, ready to get back with football. How about you? You ready to get back to football season, or you still want a honeymoon?
Well, yeah. I tell you what, the nice thing about it is that sometimes you got to pinch yourself going, I get paid to go to football games and watch it. But later on in the season, if the Saints go south, boy, I tell you what, it gets to be a grind after a while. But for the most part, working 6 or 7 days a week during football season is actually kind of fun. And I'm sure
I feel
working like you, too. It's a job, but, man, it's fun.
It's easy to get out of bed. I mean, I don't hit snooze many times. I like coming to work. I like getting there early. I like staying there late with the kids, and I think everybody's in it for the kids, especially at the high school level. You're not in it for personal gratification. You're in there to give back the kids something what you experienced as a high school coach. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, and it also helps when you're successful. Like the Raiders were last year, 9-4 into the quarterfinals. You lost to Shaw, but man, I'll tell you what, those kids have to be hungry coming back again after having a season like last year.
Well, just the young men that graduated last year, they were sophomores, our first season there as a staff, a new staff, and they had not experienced winning seasons, and they had 3 in a row. They went from 7, 8 to 9 wins, and they defeated the #2 team in the state last year in Ouachita in the second round, and they got to the quarterfinals. And it was a Thanksgiving week game with standing room only, so that's a great experience for them to remember the rest of their life.
It has to be nice for you as a coach knowing this team has improved every single year, but also you got to go, oh, wait a minute, one of these days we're going to have to go backwards sometime. You can't keep reloading and and keep going 16-0 or something.
You're right. I just told you 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
So the natural thing is to go 10 again. But
try to tell that to your boosters and then everyone else. Well, we can't do that every year, but we'll try our best.
Well, I think everybody expects it, and this year especially, expectations are high. I mean, I can't pull the shade over nobody's eyes. Even my expectations are high for this team.
How many starters you got coming back?
The offensive line returns. We have only 2 guys who were not returning starters on the offensive line. The backfield returns. The defensive line is new. The linebackers and secondary return. So I know the Times pick, I think he's picked us first in district. Clarence Harrell's picked us second, and people have high expectations. So I guess that too, it's been easy to downplay the past 2 years. We've been picked low, finish high. But like I told the kids, if we're going to be picked to finish high, let's go ahead and finish high. And of course, Shaw and Jesuit have been our stumbling blocks the last 2 years, and they'll be there again this year. Shaw is definitely, I think, the team to beat because they are the returning state finalists, and they've won 10 of the last 15 district championships.
Let's talk about the Jamboree coming up this weekend on Friday night. There's, if you want to test, it's just like if you're an NFL team. The Saints went out and they scheduled the Packers, and they come out and they get the Broncos. They got Tampa Bay and Tennessee. 3 out of the 4 playoff teams. Tennessee pretty close. Your first exhibition game, and you're going against JT and his juggernaut.
That's been a great challenge. Last year, people made kind of a big deal out of it because Rummel and John Curtis had never met, whether it was a scrimmage, jamboree, or regular season, and we set this up as a jamboree. And I think it's great for prep football to start the first week. It's kind of like, maybe not the same magnitude, but West Monroe and Evans will go for the first time this Friday night in North Louisiana. And down here, I think this is what people want to see Rummel and Curtis play, at least in the Jamboree, for 30 minutes. And last year was a great game. I have all the respect in the world for that football program and Coach Curtis and his staff. And they got great young men, and they expect the same things from their young men as I do. So I like playing them.
It's good for high school football in more ways than one, because not only does this give you guys a challenge, but for an exhibition game, you're going to pack the stadium for this. And it's just a practice,
Right. I told my guys, we're going to go playing in front of 200 last Saturday for a scrimmage, in front of 5,000 under the lights on a Friday night, just for a 30-minute game that will not show up in the record books. I'm sure it's going to mean something to some kids down the road. It's just as bragging rights, but it won't show up in the record books. It won't be on your record. But you still might feel the pain a couple weeks later, but it's not going to be on your record.
They got some big boys up front, I tell you that much. During the scrimmage last week at West Monroe, Ed Daniels ran a little piece on ABC 26 on it that they only gave West Monroe like 2 first downs or something like that. And, right away you're like, oh my gosh, just 1 year, would they please be down? I know all the opposing coaches say that.
I remember talking to the West Monroe coaches last year, the day before the Shaw game, and he expected last year's team to be his worst team at West Monroe, and he expects to win state championship. He told me that at least the next 3 years. So for Curtis to go up there and do what they did to West Monroe, they've got to be pretty good.
Yeah, sometimes
good as usual.
Exactly. Sometimes coaches like to do the opposite. Like JT last year, going, we're out there for the two-a-days. It's like, I have no idea how I'm going to go. We don't have this guy coming back or that guy. We're sloppy, and then they hardly lose.
Yeah.
I mean, they're awesome. And they always like to, put things down and say, well, we might be all right, but that's it. And, geez, they ended up being, winning another championship.
Right. I mean, they lost to Shaw the first week in a very close game. They ran off 14 straight wins or 13 straight wins. And they beat some very good teams down the road. So, I mean, it has a lot to do with coaching, but he has some good kids. He has, from a young age, they coach, and those young men know what's expected of Curtis football. And that's what we're trying to get with Rummel right now.
Yeah. And talk about how since you've been the head coach, I know we've talked about the wins, how they've gone up, but the quality of athletes that you're getting now.
Well, winning does breed success. In that first year, where expectations were low, we were picked 6. We played for the district championship on a Thursday night against Holy Cross. And ever since then, it's been a pretty much uphill ride. What's helped us is the stability of the coaching staff. I'm going on my 4th year at Rummel, and we have not lost an assistant coach, and that's unheard of. Go ask Hank Tierney how many coaches he loses every year. And it's tough for him to replace coaches, and Coach Curtis has not lost coaches, but it's helped me knowing that I have my same defense coordinator, Coach Mark Shreve, same offensive line coach, Coach Lionels, and I go right down the line with all my assistants. And it just makes it so much easier on me. And on young men on the East Bank, when they pick up that paper on a Friday morning or watch Friday night football on a Friday night, and Rummel might be one of the lead stories, they want to be associated with a winner, and it's helped us that we've had success.
Yeah. All right. Well, 9-4 last year. They all went 10 or 11 or 12 wins coming up next season. Anyway, I'm Jeff Peterson, ABC 26 Sports. We were talking high school football, specifically Rummel High School Raider football jamboree on Friday, and then the regular season starts just a couple of weeks after that. Anyway, I'm Jeff Peterson, ABC 26 Sports. More Cox Metro Sports right after this. Welcome back to Cox Metro Sports. I'm Jeff Peterson, ABC 26 Sports. This is Jay Roth. You can tell by the big R on his shirt. Proud to be a Rummel Raider, head coach over there for the last 3 years, and looking forward to another winning season this year. Well, the team again went to the quarterfinals. Went 9-4, losing the second round. And last year you go out and you play in your exhibition game against Curtis. You end up in a 7-7 tie in front of a ton of people at Joe Uni Stadium. Everyone's like, "Woo, Rummel's, we're the real deal this year." You go out the next week, and I don't know if you lay an egg or what, but Salmon just beats the pants off you. And, you talk about going from way up here down to just falling off the face of the earth, 31-0 in the season and opener, and you got to all of a sudden be going, man, I thought we were going to be good. I don't know now. You start to question yourself in a way.
No doubt we dropped the ball on that one. We laid a big egg against Salmon. That's probably the worst defeat in 3 years at Rummel we've had. And I tried to tell the kids, no matter what happened to Curtis, because I really didn't know what was going to happen, whether it was win, lose, or draw, we weren't going to make a big deal of the jamboree. So I guess we did make a big deal of it. And we might have got big-headed, and Salmon just beat us in every which way possible. And that was a team that, although they had won state championships, they were moving up to 5A, and they might have been a little apprehensive, too, on their side. I mean, I talked to Coach Stubbs. He says, Jay, I can't believe I saw the same team tonight I saw last week against Curtis. And they beat us, and that kind of helped their season along, and it took us about 5 or 6 weeks to recover from that.
How do you go into this the exhibition game, the jamboree, this year now? After last year, you went in 7-7. Do you enter it any different than you did last year?
No, not really. I mean, I think John Curtis and Rummel are both teams that they've been doing the same thing for 3 years. I don't think anybody's doing anything different. We're still preparing for the season. We have a big opener in Salmon. They have a big opener in Shaw. So you really can't get excited about the jamboree. Like I said, the kids might have bragging rights, but it's not going to count on your record, and I really don't want to make a big deal out of it. When that game's over that night, whether it's win, lose, or draw, it's time to get ready for Salmon. I'm sure it's the same way for John Curtis.
Yeah, your opener, same as last year, playing Salmon. I mean, I'm sure the kids have been looking forward to that since the end of last season, after what happened in that opener last year.
If they haven't, I'm going to remind them, I promise you.
You're going to put up the newspaper clipping
from last year,
that's right. 31-0.
I still have it. Color the front page, and you guys at Friday Night Football, that's the curse. You're putting us on that little opening. Everybody says that. You had us on the opening, and we got beat.
Yeah, I think, how many weeks do we have it? Like 16 weeks, I think, total. And, we were counting going like 10 or 11 out of them, the guys had lost. And so we're going to the schools going, I don't want to be on that open, because we do the nice little open with the music and everything, and nice special effects and everything. And it was like the Sports Illustrated jinx last year. But it's not going to be that way this year.
Well, I hope not, but I can know. We start the season. I remember De La Salle starting off good. You put him on the cover. There was E. St. John. We watch it, and boy, it's a jinx.
Oh boy. Anyway, hey, let's talk about the Catholic League this year. Always just a powerful league. If you even take third place in this thing, you're still a solid and quality football program. But this league continues to be strong and one of the best in the state.
I think it continues to be strong. It's going to get stronger now. I still think, even though some teams might say Rummel might be the team to beat this year, I still think Jesuit and Shaw, because they're the returning co-champions in the district. Shaw has a great receiver in Bellamy and a quarterback in Sharon Carey. Jesuit is led by their defense, O'Neill, and Jay Pittman's done a great job. And St. Aug is always talented, and they were on the verge of making the playoffs last year. De La Salle, Wayne Matthews got them in the playoffs for the first time in many years. Holy Cross hired a new coach, Scott Bain's father off of Shaw's staff. Brother Morton has Coach Sonji. So I think between the players and the coaching in the league from top to bottom, it is going to be tough and getting better.
It's tough to even win a couple of games just by you mentioning those schools that it's like, geez, how do you find, a way to win 2 or 3 conference games,
It gets you nervous. I mean, you can't take a week off, even though, everybody has their down years. You still have to prepare because, a team can still come up and beat you because they have quality coaching and quality athletes. You cannot take a week off in the Catholic League. And it's almost nice, once you get in the playoffs, you hate to say this, but it's almost like a breather. It's nice to play somebody else other than the teams in your league.
And you have to be careful, too, because, if you don't work hard to get the right kids to come to your school and play, you have a team like Holy Cross, which was high and mighty, and all of a sudden they fell off the face of the earth all of a sudden. And that's easy to do sometimes. I mean, all of a sudden it just happens where, the kids, I don't know if they just they're not going to Holy Cross, but now they're struggling.
I think every school's experienced it. I mean, Rummel experienced it at the end of the early 80s for a little while. Jesuit experienced it in the early 70s. Every school is going through their down 2 or 3 years, and you've just got to pick yourself up by the back of the pants. I'm sure as long as you're in coaching, it's going to happen to you sometime down the line. You're going to have that off year, And it's something. The thing about the city, it's not like playing out in the country where you have to drive 40 miles. You drive 5 miles, you have another school next to you, and these guys live with each other, grow up with each other, play playground ball. And just for example, 2 guys that stood in my wedding were guys that played high school ball against me, not with me. So it's funny how you get to meet people. You'll run across them the rest of your life.
It's like the Civil War. Brother against brother,
right,
friend against friend and everything.
Right.
So, all right, Jay Roth, head coach of the Rummel Raiders. We're talking high school football here on Cox Metro Sports. And again, the Jamborees begin this weekend, believe it or not, in the regular season. The following weekend, Rummel opens up against Salmon after losing 31-0 last year. They won that game this year big time. I'm Jeff Peterson, ABC 26 Sports. More with Jay right after this. Welcome back to Cox Metro Sports. I'm Jeff Peterson, ABC 26 Sports. We are talking high school football with Rummel Raider head coach Jay Roth, and to talk about some of the individuals when we go out to a Friday or Saturday, out to Tag Gormley or on the road or wherever we're going to see you play, who we can see starring for you this year.
Okay, let's start with our offensive line. David Myers returns as our tight end. Our tackle, Keith Chatelaine, is 6'5", 330. He's a 3-year returning starter. Our center, Bruce Hurley, is a first-year starter. Michael Hollinger, our guard, is 6'3", 305, and Brandon Graziano is our starting left tackle. In the backfield, we'll start a sophomore quarterback, Darius Wilson, who started 3 games as a freshman, a senior fullback, and Ryan Richardson, and our tailback will be Darren Parquet, who's supposedly the heir apparent to Michael Burks, and I sure hope so. He ran for over 900 yards last year as a sophomore fullback. Our receivers will be H.J. Adams, Joey Brissett, Joey Nieto, and Pat Murphy. On defense, we have all returning new starters on the front line: Jason Amin, David Norman, Steven Segari, Brandon Dabdu, Benny Mills. Our linebackers are the strength. Michael Dubuque, 2-year returning starter, junior Chris Clark, and David Kirkley. And our secondary will be Pat Lamy, returning all district, one of our captains, Daron Wiltz, Jason Mayanza, Jeremy Roussel, and Carlos Velasquez. So I feel good. I just named all the starters. That was good.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me get kind of a wide shot right here. Look, these are my notes. There's no notes right here, folks. You just named off all his football players, all by memory. Now, I'm impressed right there.
I sure hope so, because when this show airs, I'll find out who I forgot. I sure hope I got them all.
Coach, how come you didn't mention
That's right. Didn't mention my son, but I think I got them all.
Hey, let's talk about, first of all, your kid going to Auburn. That's a big loss for you guys, but a big gain for Auburn.
I'm happy for him. I am happy for him because that young man, and it's more about just yards gained. I think, when you coach, it's more about just teaching X and O's, and I think Michael will tell you he learned a lot. I learned a lot from Michael, and I think he's going to represent Rummel real well at Auburn. I hear he's doing a great job. He'll supposedly get some time on ESPN versus Virginia week 1. I've talked to him. He's running second team right now, and he's made a great impression on the Auburn coach. We're on the internet every day trying to find out how he's doing. So he's doing a good job.
Makes the coach proud.
I'm very proud of him.
Yeah, of course, Michael Burks. Let's talk about some things concerning high school football these days. Every time during this time of the year, I've been in Louisiana for almost 3 years now, and we know how hot it gets year-round, but especially when the kids hit the football field in August for summer practice, a big concern over the heat. And I know there's, nationwide, how many kids play high school football, the percentages of somebody dying because of the heat is really remote, but it does happen, and we had it happen last year at De La Salle. And how do you keep the dangers away from, from the high school football players out there in the heat?
Well, it's sad because it did happen last year at De La Salle, and whether it was from a heart problem or heat, the initial reaction is that, oh, it was too hot, they shouldn't have been out there, and it's a shame because that is the initial reaction. But at Rummel, what we do, those boys are allowed to drink water freely. We have water stations at each end of the end zone in the middle of the field, and as long as they're not in on a play, they can walk back and get water. It's not like the old days where you got a cup of water every 2 hours with a salt tablet. So they're allowed to hydrate as much as possible, and we want them to do it because I want them to be practicing as hard the first hour as they did the second hour, to have as much fluids in their body as possible. So things have changed. I know a lot of schools do that now, to where they'll get the little machines, little battery-operated machines, where they're allowed to drink water freely at practice.
Yeah, now something else that has come up big, especially concerning, the here in Louisiana with the probation, the illegal recruiting or just recruiting of football players. And I know De La Salle, right now there's a lawsuit, but De La Salle will not be able to compete for a conference championship or be in the playoffs. And, a concern to maybe some of the private schools out there, and almost pitting this public against private thing that all of a sudden has become, speaking of civil war, almost a little war at times. And I know there was talk of a big vote about a possible split, but how do you see all this coming out now?
I'm sure glad it didn't split. I think Tommy Henry did a great job reconciling the private and the public. Louisiana doesn't need a split. The public schools are as strong. Might not be right now at this time. Everybody has their time. Things run in cycles. And there have been public schools who have been as strong, the Hornvilles, the John Ehretts. They've had their day, and they're capable of having their day again very soon. Thibodeau's, West Monroe's. It just happened that one year you might have had a Curtis and Evangel or a Shaw in a state championship, and then people want to point to this recruiting. And there's been times there haven't been Catholic schools in the finals. It just happens to be that the city we're so tight with schools that people, might hear about the Catholic schools more than the public schools. But I hope it doesn't get ugly, and every kid has a choice to attend where he wants to go, and that's what people need to realize. Just because he might live in your district doesn't mean, we can't go out there and unduly influence him. I believe that, and it should be done that way. People should be held accountable for that. You cannot unduly influence a kid, but if he wants to attend your school, there's no reason why he cannot attend any school he wants.
Yeah, now, a lot of the private schools, you got to be looking over your back going, well, who's here spying on us today or whatever with video cameras and everything like that?
But as long as you follow the rules. If you pay your admission, you can go watch a game, and I can wear my Rommel shirt and watch a game. I'm not going to go talk to anybody, But I have every right to go see who I want to play. I can go see a game.
Is there a fine line you have to walk?
Yeah, you got to follow the rules. They're written in the handbook. Our athletic director goes over with us every year, and those are the rules we follow. And we do it by the book at Rummel. We really do. And people might not think that. Public schools might not think that. But let me tell you what, there's recruiting in public schools. You can ask anybody. Kids might leave one district to the other. I know there's many cases, and it happens. They recruit, I'm not saying they recruit, but kids might want to attend another public school other than the one he should be going to. So it happens on both sides.
Is there some gray areas in the rules like some of the folks at De La Salle were talking about?
I don't know the De La Salle case.
Yeah.
I really don't.
But if you think there's a gray area, to me, you get on the phone and go, hey, I don't understand this. What's the deal?
If there's gray area now, you better get on the phone now, because look what happened to De La Salle. So if there was a gray area in the past, I think you can't take things for granted. You better get on the phone and find out what you can and cannot do before you do it.
Yeah. Now we just touched on the possible split. We're all together now. The state of high school football in the state of Louisiana and the greater New Orleans area.
I think it's the best football in the nation. I'd put our football up against, and you can say what you want about Texas and Florida. I'd put our football up against anybody. I think they say per capita, Louisiana turns out the most Division I college football players in the nation, and I believe that.
It'd be kind of fun to see an all-star game, Louisiana versus Texas or California or
I like
Florida.
To put our best team every year against another state just to see,
It'd be fun, but a summer all-star game, instead of having the North and the South, the East and the West.
I know Oklahoma. I think Texas and California do it. Some other schools do it. But I like our football as a whole is very good, and I think it's because our coaches do such a great job in the state of Louisiana.
Yeah, and now for you, there's nothing like becoming a better coach and a lot of that means doing summer camps and everything. You got a great opportunity over this last year, and you got to be going, man, that was work over there I was doing. You went to Sweden and had a little summer camp over there.
Right. A gentleman that coached me in college, Joe Clark, who's had NFL and college experience, is now coaching in the World League in Amsterdam. And 2 years ago, he called me out the blue. He says, Jay, I'm doing a quarterback clinic in Sweden. Would you like to come with me? That was a no-brainer.
Is that a trick question?
And the thing is, you know, I learned football. I learned football from Joe Clark. I learned football from some Sweden's coaches. You know, if you can go somewhere and pick up one thing, whether it's a clinic or a camp, then you learn football. And I think as coaches, we need to improve ourselves, and that's one thing we try to do at Rummel, improve ourselves after every season to become better coaches.
Yeah, I want to go back to Sweden now and do a little
I hope I
vacation?
can go back every summer. They've been great people. The kids are... I don't know if football's ever going to catch on over there because soccer and hockey are just unbelievable. They're not very good, but they're getting better. And what they're trying to do is, you know, they have some big offensive linemen. They got some huge kids. They just don't have the quarterback. They have to bring Americans over to play quarterback for them. So what they're trying to do is develop their young quarterbacks. And this year, and I hope it's every year, they're going to bring some American coaches over there to do it. And I hope I'm in that number because it's great.
It seems funny when you get a lot of the exchange students that come over and play football in the United States. They go, oh, I'll try a little football. They always end up being the place kickers because they're soccer players, you know?
The Swedish kids don't like that. They come over here and they stick them as a kicker, and they don't, you know, they're not going to tell the American coach I can do something else, but they really want to play another position.
They want to go out and hit. It's football.
They do.
I get enough kicking when I play soccer. I want to go hit something.
They're out there in the middle of summer, which is the Swedish summer still, but still they're out there with their helmets and shoulder pads, and they're trying to become better in a game which nobody really watches over there.
How can you get better as a head coach?
We attend clinics, visit universities during the spring. We try to meet coaches. They come through recruiting, get to know them. We put them on the board. If they're there recruiting one of our players, like Michael Burks last spring, we sit there and ask them a question. They'll get on the board and almost give us a clinic for 20 minutes, offensively and defensively. And they'll say, if you ever have time, come on up. You know, we'll talk some football. And we'll make trips in the spring to universities and learn football and watch spring practice. LSU and Tulane have been super to high school coaches, open their practices, meetings during the week, send us tapes. You know, I couldn't ask for a better... we get along so good with those two universities. All high school coaches do.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice to see such a local institution totally turn around their football program. Not only are they reaching out to the coaches a little more and to the local players, but they got a great product now. Tulane, I mean, when you go out on a Saturday and see them play, they're unbelievable.
Right. And all those coaches, I'm not saying get down on your level, but they are on your level. They don't feel like, you know, hey, I'm college, I'm better than you. They're really nice people, and so are the LSU coaches. So we're very lucky to have both of those staffs in those places.
It's 3 years of high school football going on year 4, at least head coaching-wise. Future of Jay Roth. Obviously, you want to take this to the next level someday?
Well, right now I don't have any plans because really, Jeff, I enjoy working with the young men, and I feel like at the high school level you can still mold a personality. I don't know if you can mold a personality at the college level, but right now I'm happy to be the head coach at Rummel High School. We still got some goals to accomplish, and I like working with the young kids.
Well, you can't move to the college level until you win a state championship for those folks over there.
Well, there you go. That sounds like a good deal. Let's work on winning a state championship.
Jay, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Oh, good deal. Trying to improve on that 9-4 season from a year ago. Again, they take on Curtis in the Jamboree at East Jeff.
Yes, sir.
East Jeff, Joe Yinney Stadium on Friday night. Then the opener against Salmon in week 1 of the high school football season. It's back. High school football. I'm Jeff Peterson, ABC 26 Sports. Have a great night.